Hey guys, Stephen Tony here, and I am back with a new video. And for this one, I would like to talk about a film that I watched very recently in the last day or so ago. And this is probably the strangest film that Christopher Lee had ever made, and it is the 1963 Italian film Challenge of the Devil. Now, there's a really interesting story behind the making of in this film, and it's actually a special feature on the disc. Let's see which one is it. It's this one here at the top. Let's see if I can kind of zoom in there on it. Yeah, like that one there, and it's basically the interviewee talking about the history of the film and the life of the man who made it, and basically it was the passion project of not so much an Italian nobleman, but his family was pretty affluent. You know, they ran a bunch of businesses, so he was fairly close to being of the nobility class, but he didn't have the like royal lineage to fully be one. But his family was pretty dang close, and he was an ardent lover of films, and I think he did spend some time in school studying, if I'm remembering right from the interview. Basically, he went and he studied, and he wanted to make a film which was totally against his family's wishes. But he went, he made it anyway. He was able to raise the funds partly out of his own pocket, partly through the money he was getting from the properties he invested in, sure to save his family. He either authored the script totally himself, or he co-authored it with somebody. He got a good cinematographer. He got a good music uh, composer. He was basically getting whom he felt were really good craftsmen and like artisans for the film, and he was even able to procure the British star Christopher Lee and the heartthrob of the time Giorgio Arterson. So, and basically, I believe he filmed this over a year or something like that. I think he filmed it in like 61 or 62, and it didn't come out until I think late 62 or early 63. You know, again, I did watch the sort of behind the scenes interview first prior to actually watching in the film, so my dates may end up being vague here. But from what I recall, it took him a while to shoot this, and then in post production and a few other things, everything just started going to hell. His family was nagging him to give up the project. the studio felt his initial cut it was too long, and he wasn't editing it at a reasonable enough pace. He had shot all this hallucinatory imagery. Like, it was just a really different and a really experimentally different film. And the film that interviewee Roberto Curti had described sounded really amazing, as well. But unfortunately, the director, he started having, both physical health issues, and he was, under a lot of stress mentally, from his family, from his creditors, from the bank, from the studio, the other producers, et cetera, et cetera. And the film ended up being taken out of his hands. It was edited without his knowledge. Most of the footage he shot, ended up scrapped and probably thrown away. There's no known surviving version of what he had initially edited together. So, unfortunately, we won't know what that looked like, under any circumstances. Yeah, and he also tried for quite a few years to get his version reassembled, to find that footage, and eventually his family, gave him, an ultimatum, and eventually he abandoned it, and he also abandoned cinema because of his experience. I mean, I don't think, if I'm remembering right, if he lost his love of movies as a fan, but he never made another film. He never really attempted again at any point in his life, to find the version he shot ever again. And it's just like, it's a shame. It was the guy, guy's passion project, and it ended up leaving a sour taste in his mouth. But surprisingly, what we're left with of this, experiment in filmmaking is actually not that bad. It's one that, I mean, it's hard to say it has rewatchability, because there's really nothing that you could possibly miss, I think, in the first go around. But it is definitely a curiosity. It's definitely worth looking at certain sections again, like over and over, simply more for the curiosity of them. Of them, it's a very interesting, piece of film work. Yeah, and it's this bizarre as hell, like, mixture of genres. It starts out as a spy thriller, then it turns into this sort of brief tableau into a religion, and then we're treated to some cabaret musical type numbers, and finally, like, we get this trippy gothic horror thing, as it mentions in the like a back of you. Have this disc. Want to read it or look it up on a Severin Films website. So like, yeah, but it is just this very bizarre mixture of genres. And as weird as this is going to sound, guys, it really works. It does surprisingly work. I mean, like, even though it is not the film that the guy intended for it to be, it still works on some level. You know, the only downer is that it like relies very heavily on one of the characters' narration. Christopher Lee, Giorgio Ardrason, and much of the other cast really don't have much dialogue at all. In fact, Art Ardrason spends much of the film in this weird laughter. Um, like and Lee himself isn't really the pure on star, but because he was the most recognizable actor at the time, other than Arderson, like he was given top billing. But but what screen time he does have is quite effective. Basically, it starts out this guy's friend is being hunted down because he initially had documents like that could ruin this other fella. So he begs his friend, who is now a priest, to see if he can get back the incriminating material from the man's ex-girlfriend. So he basically goes to her, and he tells her the story of how he became a priest and how he and his other friends lust for the wildlife, like and almost destroyed them. Had not been for this event. So basically, they end up in this castle that's owned by Lee's character, and he reveals to them that he has sold his soul to the devil in order to keep the earthly beauty of the woman he loved. But something went horribly wrong, and now she's suffering from it, and he basically, implores them to find out where she is so she can be given a proper burial. Even though it'll mean that he'll have to serve Satan for an eternity. He would rather her be at peace than indulge anymore in his own selfishness, and it just takes a very strange turn, at that point. But it ultimately culminates in this very unusual tale of redemption that, even though it is flawed as heck, that it is not what the filmmaker intended all for it, and it's like I said, like earlier, it does work, and it's actually quite interesting. I mean, it's definitely not something that anybody will rewatch a lot of, but it is a good type of film to like discuss like later, because it is just so interestingly done. The crazy mexa genres. I mean, like, I'm watching it in the like first 20 or so minutes and thinking, what the hell am I watching? you know, but by the end of things, it ended up being in this really unique and and mostly satisfying outcome. It's hardly perfect. And Lee doesn't get the screen time he should in this one, but what he does have in it is very well put to a use. I mean, like they have him in this like white hair, and then for a brief moment he turns into the devil. It's you know how he's involved in all this really comb nicely. I would definitely give this a watch if anyone hasn't already. It's exclusive to the Eurocrypt of Christopher Lee box set, but it is well worth having in your collection, especially if you're a fan of Gothic horror, American Gothic horror and Italian Gothic horror, which I prefer to be fair. So it is definitely worth a look. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I imagine when you do end up seeing it, it will spark some good conversation. Like once all is said and done. So no, that's really all I can say at the moment about the film. I don't want to give really too much more away because it kind of will spoil things, but yeah, but definitely check it out if you can. The transfers immaculate, as it says in the back here. Here is remastered from the original negative. And it also says Lee's ultra rare Faustian shocker. I'm not too sure if it's really Faustian in nature. I mean, I do kind of get the Faust connection, but I would not call it exactly Faust. To be fair, but that's me. So yeah, I like. So yeah, definitely check it out. Even if just for the oddity factor, it's a very interesting curio from Lee's 60s career, and a film that uh, kind of deserves to be rediscovered. So yeah. So yeah, But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video here. If you can, please give this one a thumbs up. And hit the notification bell if you haven't subscribed yet. And yeah, and yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.